St. Mark in the New Testament. He says, "Whoever says to this mountain, 'Be removed and be cast into the sea,' and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that those things he says will come to pass, he will have whatever he says." Whatever things you ask, whenever you pray, believe that you receive them and you will receive them. The key concept here is believing, is knowing. You have to know that in your heart. And it isn't that you want to cast a mountain into the sea, but what you want for yourself in the area of prosperity is your entitlement to be prosperous and have abundance in your life. And you have to believe and know in your heart that you're entitled to it and that you can create it. One thing that I have found very useful is to work on the beliefs and monitor yourself for a day. Try to keep track of how many scarcity versus prosperity thoughts you have, and then surrender and stop fretting about it and get yourself to flow. You'll find that if you start keeping track of your thoughts, that repeatedly throughout a given day, you'll have thoughts like, "Oh, this isn't going to work," or "No, I can't get that," or "I'm not capable enough," or "I don't have enough experience," or "This probably won't work out for me." That's all scarcity consciousness. What you want to do is shift that around. Once you become aware of how much you do this and how habitual this is. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people, with strangers on airplanes, or just people who've come into my life in one way or another when I've had just a chance to talk to them. And after about a minute, I can size up and say, this is somebody who has a scarcity consciousness. And they defend their scarcity consciousness. I mean, they're busy defending it all day long. They're explaining to me why it's worked this way and how their parents did that and how the circumstances of their life created this and how they can't ever get past that and how there are some people that are lucky and how I can't do it because of all of these things that have happened in my life. And they hang on to these things and they believe it and they swear by it and they explain it to everybody else. And before you know it, they don't have a chance to create prosperity in their life because they just don't allow that kind of a thought in. So keep track of those kinds of thoughts. And then a very important technique is to act prosperous. You heard me right. Act as if what you deserve in the way of prosperity is already here. Begin to act as if you are behaving in a way which is consistent with what you want. I have a fellow here working with me who's the engineer on this project and one of the producers of this program. And he's been admiring my watch for the last couple of days, this watch that my wife and I have, these matching watches. And he said to me, "Gee, that's really, I've been admiring your watch for the last couple of days." I said, "Why don't you get one?" "Well, I'm not sure that I can, I don't have this, and it costs money, and I've been saving, and every time I get enough money put away, something else comes along." I said, "Go out and get the watch. Figure out a way to get it, and it will begin to manifest in your life." I said, "Get a picture of yourself in your mind wearing the watch. See it on your wrist. Believe that you're entitled to it. You're working. You're doing terrific things. You're a very bright guy. You can create this watch into your life, but you've got to do it with a thought. And if you have the thought, now act prosperous. It isn't, I don't say go into debt. I don't say get things that just because everybody else has it that you're entitled to and that you want it. What I'm saying is if it's something that's significant and important to you and it's within the realm of your income, which it is, it certainly isn't an outrageously expensive watch, then treat yourself as if you're entitled to it. You know how many people I've sat next to on a plane who have said to me, "Gee, I'd like to have a little glass of wine." I said, "Well, go ahead." And they said, "Well, now it's $3 and it's only $2 at home." I said, it's $1. It's $1. But aren't you entitled to have a glass of wine? Well, I mean, you can get the same wine for $2 at home or even for $1 if you go to the right store. And they've got this kind of consciousness that I'm not entitled to this or other people are. And I'll reach into my pocket and I'll say, "Let me buy you a glass of wine." "Oh, no, I couldn't do that. I don't want that. I said, "Let me just buy you," and I'll have the stewardess come by and I'll say, "Here, give this person a glass of wine. This is a treat for me." And it's like they have a difficulty. Not only do they have difficulty accepting my offer of getting them a glass of wine, but they have difficulty believing that they're entitled to that. That somehow some people are entitled to those things and some people aren't. When you have a belief about yourself that you are entitled and you begin to act that way, you'll begin to see it shifting. You'll begin to see yourself acting on this new awareness that you are entitled to something. And once you do that, prosperity is the same thing as your prosperous thinking and your prosperous behavior. There's no more splintered personality. Then prosperity becomes your watchword. If money is all that you want, and you want it for the purpose of gaining power over others, then you will never get enough because you're never get enough of what you don't want, as I've been saying throughout this program. Listen to what Yogananda said. He said, I once saw a cartoon drawing of a dog hitched to a small but well-laden cart. The dog's owner had found an ingenious method for getting it to pull the cart for him. A long pole tied to the cart extended forward over the dog's head. At the end of the pole there dangled a sausage temptingly. The dog, straining in vain to reach that sausage, hardly noticed the heavy cart he was dragging along behind him. And he says, how many business people are like that? They keep thinking, if I can make just a little bit more money, I'll find happiness at last. Somehow their sausage of happiness keeps receding from their grasp. As they strain to reach it, however, just see what a cartload of troubles and worries they drag along behind them. Don't be chasing after a sausage that's always going to elude you and suffering from the disease called more. Understand that money and your attachment to that kind of prosperity is always going to make sure that you don't have it. It's an inner game. And when you get that and know that, you'll start getting your life on purpose. You'll realign yourself spiritually, and prosperity, I promise, will be your result.